The scream cuts through the morning silence like a blade through silk. I'm halfway through my coffee in the residence lounge when my pager erupts. Code yellow. Room 412. Psychiatric consult requested. My attending, Dr. Margaret Chen, is already moving, her white coat billowing behind her like a sail catching wind. I follow, my heart hammering against my ribs. We're running now, our footsteps echoing off the sterile hospital floors. Through the windows, dawn light spills across the hallway in golden rectangles, but there's nothing peaceful about this moment. Another scream. This one is raw, primal, laced with terror that makes my skin prickle. 26-year-old female, Dr. Chen says without breaking stride. Husband brought her in 2 hours ago. Severe confusion and retrograde amnesia. No history of head trauma. No toxicology hits. We reach the door. Inside, I can hear sobbing. Not the gentle kind, the desperate kind. The kind that comes from somewhere so deep it pulls pieces of your soul with it. Dr. Chen's hand pauses on the door handle. She looks at me, her dark eyes sharp and assessing. Reyes, what's the first thing you look for in sudden onset amnesia? My mind races through differentials. Physical trauma, stroke, seizure activity, psychogenic factors. Good, but remember, she pushes the door open. Sometimes the body remembers what the mind tries to forget. What I see inside that room will change everything I thought I knew about memory, love, and the fragile architecture of the human mind. But what she was trying to forget wasn't what anyone expected. The room smells like vanilla and fear. It's an odd combination, one that hits me the moment we cross the threshold. The vanilla comes from a candle someone brought in, probably the husband, trying to make the sterile hospital room feel more like home. The fear is harder to place. It's in the air itself, thick and suffocating, like humidity before a thunderstorm. The woman sits on the bed, her knees drawn to her chest, her arms wrapped around them so tightly her knuckles have gone white. She's small, maybe 5'3", with dark hair that falls past her shoulders in waves. She's wearing a hospital gown now, but I can see her clothes folded neatly on the chair, a sundress the color of coral, sandals with tiny shells on the straps, honeymoon clothes. Her eyes are what get me. They're wide, darting around the room like a trapped animal searching for an exit. They land on us, and for a moment, there's hope there. Then recognition fails to arrive, and the hope crumbles into something worse. The husband stands by the window, his back to us, shoulders rigid. He's tall, maybe 6'1", with sandy brown hair and the kind of build that suggests he spends his weekends hiking or playing basketball with friends. He's wearing khaki shorts and a polo shirt with a small suitcase logo on the chest. His hands are pressed against the window frame, and I can see them trembling. Mr. Morrison? Dr. Chen's voice is gentle, practiced. She's done this 1,000 times, walked into chaos and brought order with nothing but her tone. He turns. His face is young, probably early 30s, but right now he looks ancient. His eyes are red-rimmed, his jaw tight. She won't stop asking who I am, he says, and his voice cracks on the last word. We've been married for 4 days. 4 days. I feel something twist in my chest. 4 days ago, this man was probably the happiest he'd ever been. 4 days ago, he was kissing this woman at an altar, promising forever, believing in it with every fiber of his being. 4 days ago, she knew his name. I'm Dr. Chen, and this is Dr. Reyes, my attending says, moving closer to the bed with slow, deliberate steps. We're going to help figure out what's happening. Can you tell us what you remember? The woman, I glance at the chart in my hands. Emma Morrison, 26 years old, no significant medical history, looks at Dr. Chen like she's been offered a lifeline. I woke up and he was there, she whispers. Her voice is hoarse, probably from screaming. In bed, next to me. And I don't know who he is. I don't know where I am. I don't know. Her breath hitches. I don't know who I am. The words hang in the air like smoke. Dr. Chen pulls up a chair, settles into it with the kind of calm that only comes from years of practice. Let's start with what you do remember. Can you tell me the last clear thing in your mind? Emma's eyes go distant. Her breathing slows, becomes more measured. I was studying for finals. My sophomore year at UCLA, spring semester. She looks up at Dr. Chen. That was last month, right? Did I hit my head? Was there an accident? My pulse quickens. I do the math quickly. If she's 26 now and she thinks she's a sophomore in college. Emma, Dr. Chen says carefully, what year do you think it is? 2019, she says immediately. April 2019. My biology final is next week, and I'm behind on molecular genetics, and She stops, looks at the window where morning light is streaming in, looks at her husband, who has his hand over his mouth, eyes closed. Why is everyone looking at me like that? Dr. Chen doesn't answer directly. Instead, she pulls out her phone, shows Emma the date on the screen, November 30th, 2025. The sound Emma makes isn't quite a word. It's more like air being punched from lungs, like the moment before a scream when your body hasn't quite caught up to your mind. She stares at the phone, then at her hands, then at the wedding ring on her left finger, a simple gold band with 3 small diamonds catching the light. That's not, she starts, stops, tries again. That's not possible. I'm not married. I don't even have a boyfriend. I'm focusing on school. Her eyes find David Morrison again. Who are you? He opens his mouth, closes it. No sound comes out. He looks at Dr. Chen, and the question in his eyes is clear. How do I introduce myself to my own wife? I'm David, he finally manages. We met 3 years ago, at a coffee shop near UCLA. You ordered a vanilla latte and His voice breaks. You spilled it on my laptop and you were so apologetic. You bought me another coffee to make up for it, and we ended up talking for 4 hours. You told me you wanted to be a marine biologist. You told me about your family in San Diego, about your little brother who loves sharks, about how you'd never been outside of California but you wanted to see the world. He's crying now, tears streaming down his face. We got engaged last year on the beach where you used to go as a kid. We got married 4 days ago. 4 days. And yesterday we were in Maui on our honeymoon and everything was perfect. Everything was... He can't continue. His shoulders shake with sobs. Emma stares at him like he's speaking a foreign language. Then she looks down at her left hand again, at the ring that should mean everything but means nothing. She pulls it off. The motion is violent, desperate, and holds it out to him. Take it, she says. Her voice is flat now, shock settling in like frost. This isn't mine. I don't know you. She looks around the room wildly. Where are my parents? I want my parents. Someone call my parents. Dr. Chen places a hand on Emma's shoulder. We're going to call them. But first, I need to run some tests to understand what's happening in your brain. Is that okay? Emma nods, but I can see she's not really processing. She's somewhere else entirely, lost in a gap of 6.5 years that have simply vanished from her mind like water through fingers. I watch David Morrison sink into the chair by the window, the wedding ring still in Emma's outstretched hand, glinting in the morning light. He doesn't take it. He can't. Because accepting it would mean accepting that the woman he loves doesn't exist anymore. At least, not in the way he knew her. Dr. Chen catches my eye and tilts her head toward the door. We need to talk. As we step into the hallway, I hear Emma ask the nurse who's just entered, "Can someone please tell me what's happening? Why does everyone keep looking at me like I'm broken?" The door closes, muffling her voice. What are we looking at? I ask Dr. Chen. My mind is already running through possibilities, but none of them fit quite right. Dissociative amnesia? Psychogenic fugue? Dr. Chen leans against the wall, her expression thoughtful. Possibly, but the specificity is what concerns me. She hasn't just forgotten recent events, she's forgotten 6.5 years of her life with precision. She remembers up to a specific point in college, then nothing. No gradual fade, no fragmentary memories, just a wall. Could it be neurological, early onset Alzheimer's? A tumor? We'll run an MRI, full neurological workup, but Reyes? She fixes me with that look again, the one that says, pay attention, this is important. The brain doesn't usually work like this with organic pathology. When there's a tumor or degeneration, memory loss is typically more diffuse, more chaotic. This is too clean, too specific. So you think it's psychological? I think, Dr. Chen says slowly, that something happened in those 6.5 years that her mind can't or won't process, and we need to find out what before we can help her remember. I nod, but my eyes drift back to the door, to the room where a woman sits who went to sleep on her honeymoon and woke up in a life she doesn't recognize, next to a man who's a stranger wearing her husband's face. Through the small window in the door, I can see David Morrison. He's still holding the wedding ring, staring at it like it holds answers. Like if he looks hard enough, he can rewind time to 4 days ago when everything made sense. But time doesn't work like that. Memory doesn't work like that. And whatever happened to Emma Morrison, whatever her mind is protecting her from, it's buried deep. The question is, do we dig it up? Or do we leave it buried and risk losing her forever? The MRI comes back clean. I'm staring at the images on the computer screen in the radiology reading room, looking for something, anything that would explain what's happening to Emma Morrison, but her brain is perfect. No tumors, no lesions, no signs of stroke or hemorrhage. The structures are all intact. Hippocampus healthy, frontal lobe unremarkable, temporal lobes showing normal activity. Dr. Chen stands beside me, her arms crossed, studying the scans with the intensity of someone reading a map to buried treasure. Run the cognitive battery, she says finally. Full neuropsych eval. I want to know exactly where the gaps are. Over the next 4 hours, I watch Emma Morrison navigate a series of tests designed to map the landscape of her memory. She can remember her childhood with crystalline clarity, her 7th birthday party, the taste of her grandmother's tamales, the day she found a starfish on the beach and carried it in her pocket until her mother made her put it back. She remembers high school, her friends' names, her first kiss behind the gym bleachers with a boy named Marcus who tasted like mint gum. She remembers college up until that specific point in April 2019. She can tell me the plot of the book she was reading for her English class. She can recite the first 10 elements of the periodic table. She knows who the president was, but after that, nothing. I show her photographs David brought from their apartment. Their engagement photos, Emma in a white dress on a beach at sunset, David's arms around her, both of them laughing. She studies them like they're strangers in a magazine. She's pretty, Emma says quietly, looking at herself. But that's not me. I mean, it's my face, but I wouldn't wear my hair like that. I wouldn't choose that dress. I show her photos from the wedding. Emma in a lace gown, walking down an aisle lined with flowers. David waiting at the altar, his face full of so much love it hurts to look at. Emma and David cutting a cake, feeding each other, kissing while guests cheer. She looks at each one with the detached interest of someone scrolling through a stranger's social media. I don't remember any of this, she says, then softer. Was I happy? The question lands like a stone in still water, ripples spreading outward. Yes, I tell her, because David said she was. Because in every photo, her smile is real. I think you were very happy. Emma hands the phone back to me, and I see something flicker across her face. Not recognition, but something else. Discomfort, maybe, or fear. Then why don't I remember? It's the question we're all asking. By late afternoon, Emma's parents arrive from San Diego. Her mother, Maria, is a small woman with the same dark hair as her daughter, streaked now with gray. She rushes into the room and pulls Emma into her arms, and for the first time since Emma woke up, I see her relax. Just slightly. Just enough. Mija, Maria whispers, stroking her daughter's hair. We're here. We're here. Emma's father, Robert, is tall and quiet, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He stands back, letting his wife have this moment, but I can see his hands are shaking. He looks at David Morrison, and something unspoken passes between them. Sympathy, shared grief, the knowledge that they've both lost the same person in different ways. Maria pulls back, cups Emma's face in her hands. Do you know me? Of course, Mama, Emma says, and relief floods Maria's features. You're my mom. You and Dad. She looks at Robert. You're here. You're both here. Can I come home now? The question is so simple, so childlike that it breaks something in the room. Maria looks at Dr. Chen, then back at her daughter. Of course, baby. But first, we need to make sure you're okay. The doctors need to run more tests. I'm fine, Emma insists. I just want to go home. I have finals soon and I need to study and She stops, seeing the looks on everyone's faces. What? What is it? Dr. Chen steps forward. Emma, do you remember finishing college? Emma frowns. I'm in college, sophomore year. You graduated, Maria says gently. 3 years ago, you got your degree in marine biology. You work at the Birch Aquarium in the research department. You study kelp forest ecosystems. Emma blinks. No, I'm pre-med. I'm going to be a doctor. She looks around the room, panic rising in her eyes again. Why are you all lying to me? Why are you saying these things? David Morrison, who's been silent in the corner, finally speaks. You changed your major junior year, he says quietly. After we went diving in Catalina and you saw the kelp forests, you said they were like underwater cathedrals. You said you wanted to spend your life protecting them. So you did. Emma stares at him. I don't know you. I know, David says, and the pain in his voice is so raw it's almost physical. But I know you. I know you take your coffee with oat milk because regular milk gives you a stomachache. I know you talk in your sleep, usually about fish. I know you have a scar on your right knee from falling off your bike when you were 8. I know you cry during sad commercials and you always save the blue M&Ms for last because they're your favorite. I know you, Emma, even if you don't know me. Emma's face crumples. This is wrong. This is all wrong. I want to go back. I want to go back to my life. My real life. This is your real life, mija, Maria says, tears streaming down her face. This is your life and we're going to help you remember it. But watching Emma dissolve into her mother's arms, watching David Morrison stand apart from his own wife like a ghost at his own funeral, I wonder, what if she can't remember? What if whatever wall her mind has built is permanent? What if Emma Morrison, the marine biologist, Emma Morrison, the wife, is simply gone? Dr. Chen catches my eye and nods toward the door. We slip out, leaving the family to their grief. In the hallway, she's quiet for a long moment. Then, I'm consulting psychiatry. Doctor, Patricia Okoye, she specializes in dissociative disorders. If this is psychogenic, and I'm increasingly certain it is, we need someone who can help Emma navigate whatever trauma triggered this. What kind of trauma causes someone to forget 6.5 years of their life? I ask. Dr. Chen looks at me, and there's something in her expression that makes my stomach tighten. The kind they can't survive remembering. Doctor, Patricia Okoye arrives like a force of nature contained in a 5'2" frame. She's Nigerian-American, with short natural hair and glasses with bright red frames that somehow manage to be both professional and playful. She carries herself with the kind of confidence that makes everyone in the room straighten up slightly. Pay attention. When she shakes my hand, her grip is firm, her eyes assessing. Dr. Reyes, she says, Dr. Chen speaks highly of you. Let's see what we're working with. We brief her in the hallway while Emma rests inside, exhausted from the emotional upheaval of the day. Dr. Okoye listens without interrupting, her expression thoughtful, her fingers steepled under her chin. When we finish, she's quiet for a moment. Then, has anyone asked David Morrison what happened the night before she woke up? Dr. Chen and I exchange glances. We'd gotten the basics. They were on their honeymoon in Maui, staying at a resort on the west coast of the island. They'd had dinner, walked on the beach, went to bed. Emma seemed normal, happy, perfectly herself. Then she woke up screaming. I want the details, Dr. Okoye says. Every single thing that happened that day. What they ate, where they went, who they talked to. If this is dissociative amnesia triggered by acute psychological trauma, something happened. Something specific. She enters Emma's room with a gentleness that contrasts sharply with her commanding presence. I watch through the window as she introduces herself, settles into the chair beside Emma's bed, creates space that feels simultaneously safe and professional. I'm supposed to be observing other patients, following up on morning rounds, but I can't pull myself away. There's something about this case that's gotten under my skin, worked its way into the spaces between my ribs. Maybe it's because Emma is only a year younger than me. Maybe it's because I see myself in her. That desperate desire to understand what's happening to your own body when it betrays you. Or maybe it's because watching David Morrison sit in that hallway, hour after hour, waiting for his wife to remember him, is one of the most devastating things I've ever witnessed. Dr. Chen finds me 2 hours later, still at my post by the window. Reyes, when was the last time you ate? I realize I can't remember. I'm fine. That wasn't a question about your state of being. It was a question about your last meal. She holds out a protein bar. Eat. You're no good to anyone if you pass out. I take the bar, unwrap it, force myself to eat even though my stomach is in knots. Through the window, I can see Dr. Okoye still talking with Emma. The conversation looks calm, methodical. Emma is nodding, answering questions, but her face is pale and drawn. What do you think happened to her? I ask Dr. Chen. She's quiet for a long moment, watching the scene inside the room. The mind is remarkably good at protecting us from things we can't handle, she says finally. Sometimes that protection looks like forgetting. Sometimes it looks like rewriting history entirely. The brain will literally construct new narratives, new realities if the true one is too painful to process. But 6.5 years? That's not just forgetting a traumatic event, that's erasing an entire identity. Yes, Doctor, Chen says, which means whatever happened wasn't a single event. It was something that made her entire life, the life she'd built with David, the career she'd chosen, the person she'd become, unbearable. The protein bar turns to ash in my mouth. Dr. Okoye emerges 20 minutes later. Her expression is troubled. She pulls us into an empty conference room, closes the door. "I need to talk to David Morrison," she says without preamble. "Alone." "There's something Emma said that doesn't add up." "What?" Dr. Chen asks. Dr. Okoye hesitates, and I realize it's the first time I've seen her uncertain. She kept saying she felt safe when she woke up, not scared, at least not at first. She said the fear came when David started trying to convince her they were married. Before that, she just felt confused, disoriented, but safe. She looks at both of us. Why would she feel safe waking up next to a stranger? The question hangs in the air like smoke. We find David in the family waiting area, slumped in a chair staring at nothing. He looks like he hasn't slept in days. When Dr. Okoye introduces herself, he straightens, tries to pull himself together. "Mr. Morrison, I need to ask you some detailed questions about the days leading up to your wife's amnesia. I know this is difficult, but it's important." "Anything," he says. "Anything that helps." Dr. Okoye pulls out a notebook, clicks her pen. "Tell me about your relationship. How would you describe it?" David's face softens. We're best friends. We laugh all the time. She makes fun of my terrible sense of direction. I make fun of her obsession with documenting every meal on Instagram. We hike on weekends. We cook together. His voice catches. We were happy. We are happy. I know that sounds stupid now, but it doesn't sound stupid, Dr. Okoye says gently. Did Emma ever express doubts about getting married? No, never. She was the one who started talking about marriage first, actually. About a year after we started dating. She said she knew I was it for her, that she didn't need to date around to be sure. He runs a hand through his hair. Is that what this is? Did she have some kind of breakdown because of the wedding? Cold feet that manifested as this? I don't know yet, Dr. Okoye says. Tell me about the honeymoon, the day before she woke up with amnesia. David closes his eyes, clearly trying to remember every detail. We woke up around 8, had breakfast at the resort. Emma got the acai bowl. She always gets the acai bowl. We went to the beach, swam for a while. She wanted to snorkel, so we did that for about an hour. She was excited. She kept pointing out all these different fish species, telling me their names. That's Emma. She's always teaching me something. He smiles at the memory, but it fades quickly. We came back to the room around 2, showered, took a nap, had dinner at this little restaurant off the resort, Italian place. Emma got the seafood pasta, I got the chicken marsala. We shared a bottle of wine, walked on the beach after dinner. It was beautiful. The sunset was incredible. She took about 100 photos. How did she seem during all of this? Dr. Okoye asks. Her mood, her behavior? Normal, happy, maybe a little tired, but we'd been going non-stop since the wedding. He pauses. Actually, now that you mention it, she was quiet at dinner. Not upset, just thoughtful. I asked her what she was thinking about, and she said she was just taking it all in, trying to remember every detail because she wanted to remember this trip forever. Dr. Okoye writes something in her notebook. What happened when you got back to the room? David's face flushes slightly. It was our honeymoon. He trails off, clearly uncomfortable. It's okay, Dr. Okoye says. I need to know. We made love, David says quietly. Then we watched a movie, some comedy on Netflix. Emma fell asleep halfway through. I turned it off, fell asleep too. Everything was normal. Everything was fine. He looks up at Dr. Okoye, desperation in his eyes. Then I woke up to her screaming, and she was looking at me like I was a monster, like I'd done something terrible to her. Had you ever... Dr. Okoye chooses her words carefully. Has there ever been any violence in your relationship? Any arguments that got physical? David's eyes go wide. No. God, no, never. I would never. Emma is everything to me. I would cut off my own arm before I'd hurt her. What about before you were together? Did Emma ever mention trauma, assault, anything that might resurface? David is quiet for a long moment. Then, she told me once that she had an ex-boyfriend in college, before we met. She didn't talk about him much, but I got the sense it didn't end well. She said he was intense, controlling, that it took her a while to feel safe dating again after him. He looks at Dr. Okoye. Do you think this has something to do with him? I don't know, Dr. Okoye says, but I think we need to find out. The next morning, I arrive early to check on Emma before rounds. The sun is barely up, the hospital quiet in that peculiar way it only is in the hours before dawn. I'm heading toward her room when I hear voices. I pause. One of them is Emma's, the other is unfamiliar. I round the corner and see a man standing outside Emma's room. He's tall, well-dressed in designer jeans and a button-down shirt, with dark hair styled with obvious care. He's talking to Emma through the partially open door, his voice low and urgent. "I came as soon as I heard," he's saying. "Emma, it's me, it's Bryan." I quicken my pace. "Excuse me, sir, visiting hours don't start until..." He turns and I see his face clearly for the first time, handsome in that practiced way, like someone used to being looked at. His smile is sharp. "I'm not a visitor. I'm Emma's boyfriend." My blood runs cold. "Emma's husband is..." "I know about David," Bryan interrupts. His voice has an edge now. "I know about the wedding, but Emma and I, we have history, real history, before David." He looks at me with something that might be pity. I'm guessing she doesn't remember him, but she remembers me, doesn't she? Inside the room, I hear Emma say, "Bryan, is that really you?" And there's something in her voice I haven't heard since she woke up without her memory. Recognition, relief, and something that sounds dangerously close to hope. I step between Bryan and the door. "I'm Dr. Reyes, and I'm going to need you to wait in the family area while I assess my patient." My voice comes out steadier than I feel. There's something about this man that sets off alarm bells in my head. Something in the way he carries himself, the way he looked at me with that sharp, dismissive smile, like I'm an obstacle rather than a person. Bryan doesn't move. "Emma wants to see me." You heard her. Emma is experiencing severe retrograde amnesia and is in a highly vulnerable psychological state. I can't let anyone see her without authorization from Bryan. Emma's voice comes from inside the room, stronger now. "Bryan, is that you? Please, I need..." Before I can stop him, Bryan pushes past me. Not violently, but with enough force that I stumble back. He's in the room before I can react, and I hear Emma make a sound. Half sob, half laugh. That makes my stomach twist. I'm pulling out my phone to page security when Dr. Chen appears, seemingly out of nowhere. She takes in the situation instantly, her expression hardening. "Security to room 412, she says into her phone. Then to me, "Stay with them. Don't let him touch her." I enter the room to find Bryan sitting on the edge of Emma's bed, holding her hand. She's crying, but they're not the panicked tears from yesterday. These are different, relieved, like she's finally found something familiar in a world that's become alien. "I thought I was going crazy," Emma is saying, gripping his hand like a lifeline. "Everyone keeps telling me about this life I don't remember, this person I married, but none of it feels real. But you're real. You remember me." "Of course I remember you," Bryan says, and his voice is so gentle it almost makes me doubt my instincts. Almost. "Emma, what happened? Why are you in the hospital?" "I don't know. I woke up and 6 years were just gone. They say I'm married to some guy named David, but I don't know him. I don't remember anything after spring of our sophomore year. The last thing I remember is studying for finals and texting you about meeting up for coffee." She looks up at him, and there's something desperate in her eyes. "Tell me what happened. Tell me what I'm missing." Bryan's jaw tightens. "Emma, we broke up. End of sophomore year. He pauses, and I see something flicker across his face. Calculation, maybe. "You said you needed space, that I was too intense, that you needed to focus on school. I tried to give you what you needed, but that doesn't make sense," Emma interrupts. We were happy. I was happy with you." "Were you?" The question is soft, almost gentle, but there's an undercurrent to it that makes my skin crawl. "Because that's not what you said when you left." Emma pulls her hand back, confusion crossing her face. "I don't remember leaving. I don't remember..." The door opens. Security arrives. 2 guards, professional and calm, followed by Dr. Okoye, and behind her, David Morrison. David stops in the doorway when he sees Bryan, and something dangerous flashes across his face. "What the hell are you doing here?" David's voice is low, controlled but vibrating with barely contained rage. Bryan stands, places himself subtly between David and Emma. "I'm here because Emma called me." "That's not true," I say immediately. "Emma has been under observation. She hasn't had access to a phone." Bryan pulls out his own phone, shows us a text message. "This came in at 4:47 this morning, from Emma's number." I read the message. "Bryan, something's wrong. I'm at St. Halsted Hospital. I don't remember anything. Please come. I need you." Dr. Okoye takes the phone, studies it. "Mr. Morrison, is this your wife's number?" David looks at the screen and nods, his face going pale. "But she doesn't have her phone. It's in our hotel room in Maui. We left it there when we flew back for the hospital." "Someone forwarded it," Dr. Chen says, already pulling out her own phone. "Or someone had access to her cloud account." She looks at Bryan. How did you know to come here specifically? This text just says hospital. Bryan's smile doesn't quite reach his eyes. Emma's location services. We still share locations from when we were dating. Old habit. That's not... David starts, then stops. He looks at Emma, and I can see him trying to reconcile this information, trying to understand how his wife could still be connected to an ex-boyfriend from 6 years ago. Emma, you told me you cut contact with him. You said he was... Don't, Bryan interrupts. His voice has an edge now, the gentleness evaporating like morning dew. Don't try to rewrite history, David. Emma and I had something real. Just because you swooped in when she was vulnerable doesn't mean... Swooped in? David's voice rises. We met 3 years after you two broke up. Emma came to me. She chose me. She married me. Did she? Bryan looks at Emma, and there's something in his expression that makes my stomach turn. Or did you convince her that's what she wanted? Emma always had trouble standing up to pressure. Always wanted to please people. Isn't that right, Em? Emma looks between the two men, her face pale, her hands trembling. I don't understand what's happening. Bryan, what are you talking about? We were together last month. She stops, something dawning in her eyes. Why does David think we broke up years ago? The room goes very quiet. Dr. Okoye steps forward. Mr. Morrison, Bryan, I'm going to need you to leave. Now. Emma needs rest, and this situation is clearly distressing her. I'm not leaving her alone with him, Bryan says, gesturing at David. Not when she doesn't remember who he is. Not when she's scared. I'm her husband, David says, and there's so much pain in those 3 words that even Bryan seems to feel it. I have legal rights here, and I'm the person she actually wants to see, Bryan counters. The person she texted when she was scared. Doesn't that tell you something? Sir, one of the security guards says, moving closer to Bryan. You need to come with us. For a moment, I think Bryan might resist. His body tenses, his jaw clenches. Then Emma speaks. Bryan, just go, please. I'm confused and I'm tired and I need to think. He looks at her for a long moment. Then he nods, but before he leaves, he says, I'll be back, Emma. I promise. I won't leave you alone in this. The door closes behind him. The security guards linger for a moment, but Dr. Chen dismisses them with a nod. Now it's just us, the doctors, David, and Emma. Emma looks at David, really looks at him, for the first time since this began. Did I love you? She asks. Her voice is small, uncertain. David's face crumples. Yes, he whispers, and I love you. So much. But I don't remember, Emma says. I don't remember loving you. I don't remember choosing you. All I remember is Bryan. And everyone's telling me he's bad for me, that we broke up, but... She presses her hands to her temples. Why would my mind go back to him if he hurt me? Why would that feel safe? It's the question we're all thinking, and none of us have an answer. Dr. Okoye pulls me and Dr. Chen into the hallway. Her expression is grave. I need David's permission to access Emma's medical records from college, she says. All of them, including any counseling services, health center visits, anything that might give us a picture of what her relationship with Bryan was really like. You think he was abusive? I say. It's not a question. I think Emma's mind is protecting her from something, Dr. Okoye replies. And the fact that she's regressed specifically to a point when she was still with Bryan, despite everyone saying their relationship was unhealthy, suggests one of 2 things. Either everyone is wrong about Bryan, or Emma's mind is hiding something so traumatic that even the memory of it, even the 6 years she spent recovering from it, is too much to bear. Dr. Chen runs a hand through her hair. If it's the latter, if we push too hard to restore her memory, we risk breaking her completely, Dr. Okoye finishes. Yes, but if we don't help her remember, if we let her rebuild a relationship with Bryan based on false memories, we might be sending her right back into the situation that traumatized her in the first place. Through the window, I can see David sitting beside Emma's bed. He's not touching her, respecting her space, but his body language screams desperation. Emma is turned away from him, her arms wrapped around herself, staring at the wall. 2 people who love each other, separated by an ocean of forgotten time. And somewhere in that ocean, a truth that Emma's mind has decided is too dangerous to know. The records arrive by late afternoon. Dr. Okoye spreads them across the conference table like puzzle pieces that might finally show us the whole picture. David gave his consent immediately, desperate for anything that might explain what's happening to his wife. Emma's parents arrived again this morning, and Maria hasn't left her daughter's side, while Robert paces the hallways like a caged animal, helpless and furious at his own helplessness. I lean over the documents with Dr. Chen and Dr. Okoye, reading through years of Emma's medical history. Most of it is routine: a strep throat diagnosis freshman year, birth control prescription, annual checkups, normal college kid stuff. Then I see it. A visit to UCLA's Counseling and Psychological Services, October 2019. 6 months after the point where Emma's memory cuts off. I read the intake notes aloud. Patient presents with symptoms of anxiety and depression. Reports difficulty sleeping, intrusive thoughts, feelings of guilt and shame. States she recently ended a relationship and is struggling to process the decision. Denies suicidal ideation, but reports feeling trapped in her own head. Recommended for ongoing therapy. Dr. Okoye pulls up the subsequent therapy notes. There are dozens of them, spanning from October 2019 to June 2020. 8 months of weekly sessions. The notes are clinical, professional, but even through the sanitized language, a picture begins to emerge. Look at this, Dr. Chen says, pointing to a note from November 2019. Patient discusses relationship with ex-boyfriend BM, describes pattern of isolation from friends and family, excessive need for contact, jealousy when patient spent time with others. Patient reports feeling responsible for ex-boyfriend's emotional well-being. States she felt she couldn't leave because he threatened self-harm. My stomach tightens. BM Bryan Morrison. I flip through more notes. The pattern continues, gets worse. Emma describing how Bryan would show up at her dorm unannounced, how he'd go through her phone, how he'd get angry when she didn't respond to texts fast enough, then apologize profusely, make her feel like she was overreacting. Classic emotional abuse, textbook coercive control. There's a note here about a physical altercation, Dr. Okoye says, her voice tight. She reads from a session in March 2020. Patient reports that during an argument last week, ex-boyfriend grabbed her arm hard enough to leave bruises. Patient minimizes the incident, states it was her fault for trying to leave during the argument. Therapist notes visible bruising on patient's upper arm consistent with grab marks. Patient declines to file police report. States she just wants to move on. The room is very quiet. Jesus, Dr. Chen breathes. I keep reading, looking for more, looking for anything that might explain the specific 6.5-year gap, and then I find it. A note from April 2020. Patient reports significant distress after running into ex-boyfriend on campus. States he followed her back to her dorm, tried to convince her to talk things through. Patient describes feeling paralyzed, unable to assert boundaries. States she finally agreed to meet him for coffee to get closure. Patient extremely anxious about meeting but feels obligated. Therapist strongly advises against meeting, discusses safety planning. There's no note after that for 2 weeks. Then, in May 2020, patient missed last 2 sessions. Called today to schedule emergency appointment. Patient reports that coffee meeting with ex-boyfriend led to sexual encounter. Patient describes being manipulated and coerced, feeling unable to say no. Patient states, I know I said yes technically, but I didn't want to. I just wanted him to stop being angry. I wanted it to be over. Patient is experiencing significant trauma symptoms. Nightmares, flashbacks, dissociation, feelings of shame and self-blame. Discusses possibility of reporting assault, but patient states she can't face the process. Recommended trauma-focused therapy. I feel like I've been punched in the chest. Dr. Okoye closes her eyes. There it is. Sexual coercion, Dr. Chen says. Potentially rape, depending on how we define consent when someone is psychologically coerced and in fear. Emma's mind is protecting her from this, Dr. Okoye says. She's regressed to a point before the assault, before the relationship became overtly abusive. A point where Bryan was still the charming boyfriend, where she still felt safe with him. Because remembering the truth, remembering what he did to her and how powerless she felt, is too much to bear. I think about Bryan showing up at the hospital this morning, the way he touched Emma's hand, the way he looked at David with that sharp, dismissive smile, the way Emma's face lit up when she saw him, because in her mind, he's still the person from before, the person who didn't hurt her yet. We need to keep him away from her, I say. Immediately. No contact, restraining order if necessary. It's not that simple, Dr. Okoye says. Emma doesn't remember the assault. To her, Bryan is safe and David is a stranger. If we forcibly keep Bryan away without her consent, without her understanding why, we risk her thinking we're the bad guys, Dr. Chen finishes. We risk losing her trust entirely. So what do? I ask. Let her abuser waltz back into her life because she doesn't remember he abused her? No, Dr. Okoye says firmly. But we need to help her remember the right way, gently, with support. If we just tell her what happened, if we show her these notes and say, look, he hurt you, her mind might reject it entirely. Dissociative amnesia is a defense mechanism. You don't break down someone's defenses with a sledgehammer. You have to give them a reason to lower the walls themselves. How long will that take? Dr. Chen asks. I don't know, Dr. Okoye admits. Days, weeks, maybe months. Trauma memory is complex. The brain stores traumatic memories differently than regular memories. They're fragmented, sensory, often disorganized. Helping Emma access them means helping her feel safe enough to face them. And right now, the only person she feels safe with is the person who hurt her. We sit with that for a moment. The cruelty of it, the terrible irony. What about David? I ask. He's her husband. Doesn't he have a right to know what happened? He has a right, Dr. Okoye agrees. But we need to think about Emma's well-being first. If we tell David everything and he confronts Bryan, or confronts Emma with this information, it could trigger a complete psychological break. Dr. Chen's phone buzzes. She glances at it and her face pales. We have another problem. She turns the phone so we can see. It's a text from one of the nurses. Bryan Morrison is in the lobby. He's asking to see Emma again. And Emma's mother, who doesn't know the full situation, has said she'll ask Emma if she wants to see him. No, Dr. Okoye says, standing. Absolutely not. We move quickly, half walking, half running toward Emma's room. When we arrive, Maria is standing in the doorway, looking uncertain. He seems nice, she's saying to Emma. Very concerned about you. And you said you know him, so I thought... Mrs. Flores, Dr. Okoye interrupts gently. I need to speak with you, privately. Maria looks between us, sensing the urgency, the gravity. What's wrong? Dr. Okoye pulls her aside, speaks in low, urgent tones. I see Maria's face change as she listens. Confusion, then understanding, then horror. She puts a hand over her mouth. Dios mío, she whispers. My baby girl. Inside the room, Emma is sitting up in bed. Through the window, I can see her looking at her phone. David's phone, actually, the one with all their photos. She's scrolling through the wedding pictures again, but this time she's looking at them differently, more carefully, searching for something. Dr. Chen touches my arm. Reyes, I want you to sit with her. Just be present. Don't push, don't probe. But if she wants to talk, listen. Sometimes the unconscious mind starts processing before the conscious mind is ready. I nod, enter the room. Emma looks up when I come in, and I see something in her eyes I haven't seen before. Not quite recognition, but consideration. Dr. Reyes, she says, can I ask you something? Of course. She holds up the phone, shows me a photo from the wedding reception. Emma and David on the dance floor, her head on his shoulder, both of them swaying to music we can't hear. Does this look like love to you? It's such a simple question, such a devastating question. Yes, I tell her honestly. It does. She studies the photo for a long moment. Bryan said David pressured me into marrying him, that I was vulnerable and he took advantage. She looks up at me. Is that true? I don't know David well enough to answer that, I say carefully. But I can tell you that in the time I've known him, these past 2 days, I've seen a man who is absolutely devastated by the thought of losing you. A man who respects your space even when it's killing him not to touch you. A man who hasn't tried to force you to remember, hasn't blamed you for forgetting, has just waited, hoping you'd come back to him. Emma is quiet, processing this. Bryan was never good at waiting, she says softly. Then, as if surprised by her own words, why did I just say that? My pulse quickens. What do you mean? I just had this feeling, like a memory, but not quite. Bryan used to get impatient when I took too long getting ready. He'd stand by the door, checking his watch, making these little comments about how we were going to be late. It annoyed me, but I'd laugh it off because... She trails off, her brow furrowing. I don't remember why I laughed it off. I stay very still, afraid to break the moment. This is what Dr. Okoye was talking about, the unconscious starting to process, memories beginning to surface like objects rising from deep water. Emma, I say gently, do you remember anything else about Bryan, about your relationship with him? She closes her eyes, and I see her trying to grasp at something just out of reach. I remember feeling tired a lot, stressed, like I was always walking on eggshells, but I didn't know why. I remember... She opens her eyes, and they're filled with confusion. I remember feeling relief when I was alone, but that doesn't make sense. If I loved him, Why would I feel relieved to be alone? Sometimes, I say carefully, we love people who aren't good for us, and our bodies know it before our minds do. Emma looks down at the wedding ring sitting on the bedside table. David's ring, the one she took off yesterday. She reaches out, picks it up, turns it over in her fingers. I'm scared, she whispers. Of what? Of remembering. Of finding out that the last 6 years of my life are nothing like I hoped they'd be. Of finding out I made terrible choices, or worse. She looks at me, and tears are streaming down her face now. Of finding out that I made good choices, and I've lost them all. That I met someone wonderful and married him and built a life with him, and now it's gone. That I had everything and I lost it because my stupid brain decided it was too much to handle. I move closer, sit on the edge of her bed. Emma, whatever happened, whatever you remember or don't remember, you're not stupid. Your brain is protecting you. It's doing exactly what it's designed to do when faced with something too painful to process. That's not weakness, that's survival. But what if I never remember? She asks. What if David waits and I never come back? What if I'm broken forever? You're not broken, I say firmly. You're hurt, and hurt people heal. It might take time, it might be hard, but you will heal. She wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. Bryan keeps texting me. He wants to come back. He says he can help me remember who I really am. Everything in me wants to tell her the truth right now. Wants to show her the therapy notes. Wants to explain that Bryan is the reason she's here. That letting him anywhere near her would be the worst possible thing. But I hear Dr. Okoye's voice in my head. You don't break down someone's defenses with a sledgehammer. Do you want to see him? I ask instead. Emma is quiet for a long moment. Then, I don't know. Every time I think about him, I feel something, but I can't tell if it's good or bad. It's like my brain is giving me two different answers at the same time. Then trust the uncertainty, I tell her. If you're not sure, if something feels off, wait. Give yourself time to figure out what you're feeling before you make any decisions. She nods slowly, sets down the wedding ring, picks up the phone again and scrolls to a different photo. One of just her and David on a hiking trail, both of them sweaty and laughing, mountains behind them. He looks at me like I'm his whole world, she says quietly. Because you are. But I don't remember being that person. I don't remember being someone's whole world. Maybe not, I say. But you were, and you can be again, if you let yourself. She doesn't respond, just keeps staring at the photo. And I sit with her in the silence, hoping that somewhere deep in the broken machinery of her memory, a small light is beginning to turn on. It happens 3 days later, at 2:17 in the morning. I'm on overnight call, dozing fitfully in the residence room when my pager goes off. Emma Morrison, acute distress, all hands. I'm running before I'm fully awake, my sneakers squeaking on the polished floors. When I reach her room, I find chaos. Emma is sitting up in bed, hyperventilating, her hands pressed against her temples. She's making a sound, not quite screaming, not quite crying, something in between that raises every hair on my body. Maria is beside her, trying to calm her, but Emma is beyond hearing. Her eyes are wide, unfocused, seeing something that isn't in this room. Dr. Okoye is already there, having been sleeping in the on-call room specifically to be close if Emma needed her. She's speaking in that calm, steady voice, trying to bring Emma back to the present. Emma, you're safe. You're in the hospital. You're safe. No, Emma gasps. No, I can't. I can't. Who, Mija? Maria asks, gripping her daughter's hand. Who are you seeing? Bryan. The name comes out like a curse. I remember everything. Oh God, I remember. Dr. Okoye catches my eye, gives a slight nod. This is it. The walls are coming down. Emma is sobbing now, her whole body shaking. He wouldn't stop. I said no. I tried to say no, but he kept saying it was fine, that I wanted this, that I missed him, and I froze. I couldn't move. I couldn't make it stop. Maria makes a sound like she's been stabbed. What did he do? Emma, what did he do to you? But Emma is somewhere else now, lost in the memory. He said he loved me. After. He said he loved me. And he was sorry we'd grown apart, but this proved we were meant to be together. He said it like he'd done something romantic, like he'd just... She can't finish. She's hyperventilating again, her breath coming in sharp, painful gasps. Dr. Okoye moves quickly, checking Emma's vitals. Emma, I need you to breathe with me. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Can you do that? Emma tries, but her breath keeps hitching. She looks at Dr. Okoye. and the pain in her eyes is so raw it's almost physical. I spent 6 years getting over it. 6 years in therapy. 6 years building a life where I felt safe again. I changed my major because I couldn't bear to see him on campus anymore. I moved to a different apartment. I blocked his number. I did everything right. And then, she closes her eyes, and then he showed up. At the aquarium where I work. Last month. Said he'd heard through friends that I was engaged. Said he wanted to congratulate me. Dr. Okoye's expression tightens. What happened when you saw him? I panicked. Had a full panic attack right there in the lobby. My co-workers had to help me to the break room. I didn't tell David. I couldn't. He knew about Bryan, knew we'd dated, knew it had ended badly, but I never told him everything. I never told him about the assault. I was ashamed. I thought I'd put it behind me. Did Bryan contact you again? Dr. Okoye asks, and I can hear the controlled fury in her voice. Emma nods. He started texting. I didn't respond, but he kept going. Said he'd changed. Said he'd been in therapy. Said he wanted to apologize properly before I got married. I blocked that number, but he got a new one. He kept finding ways to contact me. She looks up at her mother, tears streaming down her face. On my wedding day, he sent me a message. Said he'd be at the ceremony, that he needed to see me one more time, that he had something important to tell me. Was he at the wedding? I ask. No. I had security looking for him. He never showed. But the threat was enough. I spent my whole wedding day looking over my shoulder, waiting for him to appear. And then on the honeymoon, I kept thinking, what if he finds out where we're staying? What if he shows up? What if he ruins this too? She's crying so hard now she can barely speak. The night before I lost my memory, David and I made love, and it was beautiful. It was perfect. And all I could think about was Bryan, about how the last time someone touched me without me wanting it was him. And I thought I'd dealt with it. I thought I was over it. But suddenly I wasn't. I was back in that coffee shop, back in that moment where I couldn't make my voice work, couldn't make my body move, couldn't do anything but let it happen. Dr. Okoye sits beside her, takes her hand. Emma, what you're describing is a trauma response. Your mind was trying to protect you from re-experiencing that trauma, so it shut down access to the memory entirely. It brought you back to a point where you still felt safe, before the assault happened. But I brought Bryan back, Emma says desperately. When I woke up, I asked for him. I let him in. I was going to... She stops, horrified. I almost let him back into my life because I didn't remember why I needed him gone. But you didn't, Dr. Okoye says firmly. Some part of you knew. Your unconscious mind was still protecting you. That's why you felt safe when you woke up, because David was there. Your body knew, even if your conscious mind didn't. Emma looks at her mother. I'm sorry, Mama. I'm so sorry. I should have told you. I should have... No, Mija, no. Maria pulls her daughter into her arms, rocking her like she's a child again. You have nothing to apologize for. Nothing. Do you hear me? What happened to you was not your fault. Keeping it private was not wrong. You did what you needed to do to survive. The door opens. David stands there, his hair disheveled, his eyes wild. Someone must have called him. He looks at Emma, at the way she's shaking in her mother's arms, and something breaks across his face. Emma, he breathes. She looks up, and for the first time since she woke up without her memory, I see recognition in her eyes when she looks at him. Real recognition. Not of his face, not of his name, but of what he means to her. David, she says, I remember you. I remember us. He moves toward her like he's in a dream, like he's afraid if he moves too fast, she'll disappear. You remember? I remember loving you, she said, and she's crying again, but these are different tears. I remember feeling safe with you. I remember thinking that after everything Bryan did, after all the years of being afraid, I never thought I'd feel safe with someone again. And then I met you, and you were patient, and you were kind, and you never pushed me. And slowly, I remembered what it felt like to want to be touched, to want to be close to someone. You gave that back to me. David is crying now too. I thought I'd lost you. You didn't, Emma says. I lost myself, but I'm here. I'm still here. He sits on the edge of the bed, and she reaches for him. They hold each other while Maria quietly backs away, giving them space, and Dr. Okoye and I slip out of the room. In the hallway, Dr. Okoye leans against the wall and takes a deep, shaky breath. That, she says, was one of the hardest things I've ever witnessed. Will she be okay? I ask. Eventually, with support, with therapy, with time. The memory is back now, which means she can finally process it properly. But Reyes, she looks at me. We need to make sure Bryan Morrison never gets near her again. Ever. I'm filing a report with hospital security, and I'm going to strongly recommend she pursue a restraining order. What he did was stalking, harassment, and potentially witness intimidation given that he showed up here while she was vulnerable. Agreed, I say. But he's not going to take this well. As if summoned by our words, my phone buzzes. It's a text from the security desk, Bryan Morrison in lobby, demanding to see Emma Morrison. Says he has a right to see her, requesting doctor authorization. Dr. Okoye's expression hardens. No, absolutely not. Tell security to escort him out. If he resists, call the police. I relay the message. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzes again. This time, it's a photo from security. Bryan Morrison, being escorted out by 2 police officers. He's yelling something, his face twisted with rage. In the photo, he's looking directly at the camera, and the expression on his face makes my blood run cold. This isn't over. But for now, for tonight, Emma is safe. She's remembered. She's survived. And she has people who will fight to make sure she never has to face her abuser again. The morning sun streams through Emma's window, painting everything gold. I'm doing my rounds when I stop by her room. She's awake, sitting up in bed, looking different than I've seen her all week. There's a clarity in her eyes that wasn't there before. The confusion, the fear, they've been replaced by something else. Not happiness exactly, but resolution. David is asleep in the chair beside her bed. He'd refused to leave last night, even when visiting hours ended. Emma had asked the nurses to let him stay, and no one had the heart to say no. His hand is still holding hers, even in sleep. Emma smiles when she sees me. It's a small smile, tired, but real. Dr. Reyes, she says quietly, careful not to wake David. Thank you. I didn't do anything, I tell her. You did all the hard work. You stayed, she says. When I was scared and confused and everyone was telling me I should remember things I couldn't, you just stayed. That mattered. I pull up a chair, keep my voice low. How are you feeling? Physically, I mean. Exhausted, she admits. Like I've run a marathon. My head hurts, but it's a good kind of hurt, if that makes sense. Like the pain means I'm healing. It does make sense, I tell her. Your brain has been doing incredible work these past few days, trying to protect you and eventually helping you face what you needed to face. That takes energy. She nods, looks down at her and David's intertwined hands. I remember our wedding now. Really remember it. I remember being so happy but also so scared because Bryan had threatened to show up. I remember David noticing I was tense and pulling me aside and asking what was wrong. I told him I was just overwhelmed, but he knew. He always knows when something's off with me. Did you tell him about Bryan's threat? No. I didn't want to ruin the day. But looking back, I should have. I should have trusted him with it. She pauses. Dr. Okoye says Bryan's been banned from the hospital. Is that true? Yes. There's a restraining order being processed. He won't be able to contact you or come within 500 feet of you. Emma's shoulders relax slightly. Good. I know I need to press charges eventually. For the stalking, at least. The assault is beyond the statute of limitations now, and I don't know if I could prove it anyway. But the harassment, the showing up at my work and at the hospital, that I can prove. You don't have to decide anything right now, I tell her. Focus on healing. The legal stuff can wait. That's what Dr. Okoye said. Emma is quiet for a moment, watching David sleep. I called my brother last night, Michael. He's 16 now. Last I remembered, he was 9. That was surreal. How did it go? He told me about high school, about this girl he likes, about how he wants to study oceanography like me. We talked for an hour. I cried through most of it because I've missed so much of his life, but also, she smiles. Also, it was good to know that even though I lost 6 years in my own life, his kept going. The world kept turning. People I love kept growing and changing and living. David stirs, opens his eyes slowly. When he sees Emma awake, his face transforms. Hey, he says softly. Hey yourself, Emma replies. You drool when you sleep. He laughs, wipes his mouth. Sorry. Occupational hazard. I don't mind. They look at each other, and there's so much love in that look it almost hurts to witness. But there's also uncertainty. A question neither of them wants to ask, but both are thinking. What now? Emma asks it first. David, I remember loving you. I remember our life together, but it feels distant, like I'm watching it through a window instead of living it. Does that make sense? Yeah, he says. It makes sense. I want to love you the way I did before. I want to feel what I felt, but I don't know if I can just pick up where we left off. My brain is telling me I'm 20 years old and in college. My memories are telling me I'm 26 and married. And somewhere in between is the real me, and I don't know how to find her. David squeezes her hand. Then we'll find her together. I'm not going anywhere, Emma. We can take this as slow as you need. If you need space, I'll give you space. If you need to start over, get to know each other again like we're dating for the first time, we'll do that. Whatever you need. You'd really do that? Emma asks. Start over? After everything we built? I'd do anything for you, David says simply. You're my wife. You're my person. Whether you remember that or not doesn't change how I feel. Emma starts crying again, but she's smiling too. I don't deserve you. Yes, you do, David says firmly. You deserve someone who fights for you, someone who waits, someone who loves all of you, even the parts that are scared and broken and healing. That's what marriage is. It's not just loving someone when things are easy, it's loving them through the hard stuff too. Dr. Chen appears in the doorway, clipboard in hand. She smiles when she sees them. Good morning. How's our patient? Ready to go home, Emma says. Can I? Go home? Dr. Chen looks at Dr. Okoye, who's appeared behind her. They have a silent conversation with their eyes. Let's talk about that, Dr. Okoye says, entering the room. Emma, your physical health is fine. Your brain scans are clear. But I want to make sure you have support systems in place before you leave. You've experienced a significant trauma, both the original assault and the recent memory crisis. You're going to need ongoing therapy. I know, Emma says. I want that. I want to work through this properly this time, not just bury it until it explodes again. Good. I have a colleague who specializes in trauma and PTSD. I'd like to refer you to her. And I want you to have regular check-ins with me for the next few weeks, just to monitor your progress. Emma nods. Whatever you think I need. I also think, Dr. Okoye continues gently, that you should consider whether going back to your apartment with David right away is the best choice. Not because of David, she adds quickly, seeing his face fall, but because you might need some time to adjust to your life without the pressure of immediately resuming a relationship you don't fully remember. Emma looks at David, then back at Dr. Okoye. Where would I go? You could stay with your parents for a while, Maria suggests from the doorway. She and Robert have just arrived for morning visiting hours. We'd love to have you home, Mika. Your old room is still there. Emma considers this. Would that be okay? She asks David. If I stayed with my parents for a little while? Not forever. Just until I feel more stable? I can see it costs David something to say it, but he does. Of course, whatever you need. But I want to see you, Emma adds quickly. I want us to spend time together. Go on dates maybe. Get to know each other again. Is that weird? Dating my own husband? David laughs, and it's the first time I've heard him laugh all week. It's not weird. It's perfect. Dr. Chen makes a note on her chart. We'll discharge you tomorrow then. Give us one more day to make sure everything's stable, and then you can go home with your parents. Dr. Okoye will coordinate ongoing care. After the doctors leave, I linger in the doorway. Emma catches my eye. Dr. Reyes, she says, can I ask you something? Anything. Do you think I'm going to be okay? Really okay? I think about the past week, about watching this woman break and rebuild herself, about the strength it took to face memories her mind had hidden for protection, about the love surrounding her now, David's devotion, her parents' support, her friends and doctors all committed to her healing. Yes, I tell her honestly, I think you're going to be more than okay. It won't be easy, and it won't be fast, but you're strong, Emma, stronger than you know, and you have people who love you. That's more than most people have. She smiles, and this time it reaches her eyes. Thank you for everything. I nod, step back into the hallway. Dr. Chen is waiting for me. Good work, Reyes, she says. This was a complicated case. You handled it well. I didn't really do anything, I say. Dr. Okoye did most of the heavy lifting. You were present. You listened. You cared. That's not nothing. That's actually everything. She pauses. Take the rest of the day off. You've been here almost around the clock for a week. Go home. Sleep. Remember what it's like to be off duty. Are you sure? I'm sure. Go. I leave the hospital as the morning shifts into afternoon. Outside, the air is cool, the sky impossibly blue. I breathe it in, let it fill my lungs. Let it remind me that I'm alive, that I'm here, that I made it through another week of this impossible job. My phone buzzes. A text from my mother. ¿Cómo estás, mijo? Haven't heard from you in days. I smile. Text back. I'm good, Mama. Just finished a hard case. I'll call you tonight. Her response is immediate. Proud of you. Always proud of you. I slip my phone back in my pocket and walk toward the parking lot, toward home, toward rest. Behind me, in that hospital, Emma Morrison is learning to remember herself. David Morrison is learning to wait. Maria and Robert Flores are learning to let their daughter heal in her own time. And somewhere in all of that, there's a lesson I'm still trying to learn. That healing isn't linear, that love is complicated, that sometimes the bravest thing we can do is face the parts of ourselves we've forgotten. That sometimes the only way forward is to go back. That sometimes we lose ourselves to find ourselves again. 6 weeks later, I see them in the hospital cafeteria. Emma and David sitting at a corner table, laughing over something on her phone. They're holding hands across the table, and there's an ease between them that wasn't there before. Not the ease of a married couple who've known each other for years. That will take time to rebuild. But the ease of two people choosing each other every day with intention. Emma sees me, waves me over. Dr. Reyes, join us? I sit down with my tray of whatever the cafeteria is calling chicken today. What are you doing here? Therapy session with Dr. Okoye, Emma explains. David drives me, then we usually grab lunch after. It's become our Thursday tradition. How's it going? The therapy? Emma takes a breath, considers the question. It's hard. Some days I remember things I wish I could forget again. But Dr. Okoye is helping me process it properly this time. No more shoving it down and hoping it disappears. I'm facing it. She squeezes David's hand. And it helps that I'm not facing it alone. She's doing amazing, David says, and the pride in his voice is unmistakable. She's back at work, part-time. She's reconnecting with friends. She's even... He pauses, looks at Emma for permission. I'm writing, Emma says, about what happened, not for publication or anything, just for me. Dr. Okoye suggested it might help to document my experience, to give the memories a narrative structure so they feel less chaotic. That's a great idea, I tell her. It's weird, Emma continues. Reading what I'm writing feels like reading about someone else, like it happened to a different Emma, but I'm starting to see that maybe that's okay. Maybe I am a different Emma now. I can't go back to who I was before Bryan assaulted me, but I can't go back to who I was before I lost my memory either. I'm just new Emma, still figuring out who that is. And how's that going? I ask. The figuring out? Emma and David exchange a look. We're taking it slow, David says. We go on dates. We talk. We're not living together yet. Emma's still with her parents, but we're working toward it. Some days are better than others. Some days I look at him and feel like I'm falling in love for the first time, Emma says. Other days I look at him and feel nothing, and that terrifies me. But Dr. Okoye says that's normal, that recovering from trauma isn't a straight line, that some days will be good, and some will be hard, and the important thing is to keep showing up. So we keep showing up, David finishes, for each other, for ourselves, for our marriage. I feel something warm spread through my chest, hope, maybe, or recognition, that despite everything this couple has been through, they're choosing each other. Not because they have to, but because they want to. And Bryan, I ask carefully, has he? No, Emma says firmly. The restraining order is in place. He violated it once, sent me an email from a friend's account, and spent a night in jail for it. His parents are apparently horrified. They've reached out to apologize, which is nice, but it doesn't change what he did. She pauses. I'm pressing charges for the stalking and harassment. My lawyer says we have a good case. The trial is in 3 months. That's brave, I tell her. It's terrifying, she corrects. But it's the right thing to do, for me and for any other women he might hurt. Dr. Okoye helped me see that staying silent protected him, not me. So I'm speaking up. David lifts her hand to his lips, kisses her knuckles. The gesture is so tender, so full of love, that I have to look away. We should let you eat, Emma says, standing. But thank you, Dr. Reyes, for everything you did for me. I know you were just doing your job, but it didn't feel like that. It felt like you actually cared. I did care, I tell her. I do care. She smiles, and it's genuine, warm, healing. Then thank you for that too. They leave hand in hand and I watch them go, a couple rebuilding their life one careful day at a time, a woman reclaiming herself from the trauma that tried to erase her, a man learning that love sometimes means starting over. Dr. Chen appears at my table, sets down her coffee. The Morrison case? Yeah, she looks good, happy. She does. We sit in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Dr. Chen says, you know, When you first came to this program, I wondered if you'd make it. You were so earnest, so eager to save everyone. I was worried you'd burn out in 6 months. I still might, I joke. Maybe, but you've learned something important. That we can't save everyone, but we can witness them. We can hold space for their pain. We can help them find the strength they didn't know they had. She takes a sip of her coffee. That's what good medicine looks like. That's what you did for Emma Morrison. I think about Emma's question from weeks ago. Do you think I'm going to be okay? And my answer, yes. Because the truth is, healing is possible. Recovery is real. People can face unimaginable trauma and come out the other side changed but not broken. Hurt but not destroyed. Emma Morrison went to sleep on her honeymoon and woke up without knowing her husband's name. But that wasn't the end of her story. It was the beginning of a new chapter. One where she finally processed the trauma that had been hiding in the spaces between her memories. One where she rebuilt her relationship with intentionality and courage. One where she chose herself and her healing and her future with eyes wide open. Sometimes the mind protects us by forgetting, and sometimes healing means remembering. Emma did both, and she survived. As I finish my lunch and head back to the residence lounge, I think about all the patients I'll see today, tomorrow, next year. All the stories I'll witness, the pain I'll hold space for, the healings I'll be privileged to watch. This job will break my heart 1,000 times, but it will also put it back together in ways I can't yet imagine, because every patient teaches me something. Emma Morrison taught me that the human mind is both fragile and resilient, that love can survive even when memory fails, that sometimes the greatest act of courage is simply choosing to remember. I'm a doctor, a healer, a witness to the beautiful, terrible complexity of being human, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Sometimes the body remembers what the mind tries to forget. Sometimes love waits when memory fails. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is face the truth we've spent years running from. Emma Morrison lost 6 years of her life to protect herself from a trauma too painful to bear. But in losing those years, she found something more important: the strength to face what happened, the courage to heal, and the knowledge that she deserves love, real love, safe love, patient love. Trauma doesn't define us, but how we face it, how we heal from it, how we choose to keep living despite it, that defines us. And Emma chose to live. She chose to heal. She chose love. That's not just survival. That's triumph.